Broadcasting from our studio in Boston, Solutions Review is proud to showcase Infragistics in the Solution Spotlight, an inside look at enterprise technologies.
I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to the Solution Spotlight featuring Infragistics and focused on crafting tailored embedded BI solutions. Customization is key to making your embedded BI solutions stand out. So today, we'll go beyond the basics of white labeling to explore advanced customization features that will set your application apart. Whether you're looking to adjust UI elements or design a fully bespoke analytics dashboard, this spotlight will provide insights into how you can craft a personalized, engaging, embedded BI experience. By going beyond white labeling, you'll learn how to create analytics solutions that delight users and drive deeper engagement with your application. And joining us to walk you through today's presentation from Infragistics is Jason Barris, Senior Vice President of Developer Tools. Jason, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Doug. Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you back. We always learn a lot when you're here. This is an interesting topic and an interesting time with all the data that's being aggregated, ingested, and ultimately needing to be presented in a compelling way. And so I'm going to let you get after it and present what you want to walk through today. But afterwards, I'm going to have a few questions for you. This is a topic that I think requires a little bit more nuance for me anyway to understand a little bit more about. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, let you walk through the presentation, and when you're done, give me the high sign and I'll pop back in with some questions.
Great, thank you. First, I'm going to go through a few slides to talk a little bit about what Reveal is. So for the folks that don't know about Reveal, it'll give you a basic understanding of what you can do with Reveal. And then we're going to go into some demos and a little bit of code to learn more about how Reveal can really help you drive that digital transformation. So a little bit about me. As you learned in the intro, my name is Jason Barris. I'm a Senior VP here at Infragistics. Reveal is a product of Infragistics. It's its own brand in the market. So the website's revealbi.io. You're going to see that in the lower right-hand side of my slides today. But if you want to shoot me an email or you have any questions about Reveal, jasonb@infragistics.com is where you can find me. A little bit about Infragistics. This is our 35th year anniversary. We were founded back in 1989. We're a partner with all of the big tech companies. We have a 1.5 million to 2 million member developer tools community, and we have offices all over the globe, over in Asia Pacific, in Europe, and in the United States and South America. Reveal, which you're going to learn about today, was introduced in 2019. Its predecessor, Report Plus, was released in 2015. So Reveal, or the code base, is going on a little under 10 years. It's a very mature product. It has lots and lots of customers hitting it every day. And the great thing is Reveal is built with Infragistics products. And if you know anything about Infragistics, we are the go-to third-party control vendor in the market. So if you think about data grids, data charts, menus, everything that makes up a user interface in a custom-built application, either .NET, Angular, React, Web Components, Blazor, that's what we've done for 35 years. And Reveal was sort of born from that. And we use those components to actually bring Reveal as a solution to the market. So with Reveal, yes, you can elevate your apps with embedded analytics, and that is what Reveal is. It is a BI solution that is purpose-built for embedded analytics. So you can deliver in your application a full-featured, modern reporting and dashboarding experience using any JavaScript framework, or you can use Windows Forms or WPF on the client, and then for the server, you can use any major server backend, .NET Core, Node, or Java, and then deploy that to the cloud, to your on-prem service. It doesn't really matter. We don't care. The point is, Reveal is an SDK, so it lives in your application experience. What we want to do is help you lead your digital transformation with Reveal. So this is purpose built. So when you think about how can you add value to your applications, how can you level up the experience that you're giving your customers in your app, or maybe add a brand new feature, maybe you have something that's very legacy you want to modernize, this is where Reveal can come in. So day one, you have your app. Day two, you have an app with self-service BI and analytics that lets the customer start making better business decisions faster with their data. And that's really where Reveal can help. So the SDK is not a SaaS app. This is a pure SDK. So when you think about a library that lives in your application, you have control over everything. You're not logging into a Reveal server. We don't touch your data. Everything is driven through APIs that you control. So if you want to display top 10 customers in a column chart, that's top 10 query is happening in the Reveal server going to your database. You're not connecting to a hosted data in the cloud. You're not connecting to a Reveal server, nothing like that. This is an SDK, which puts us in a unique space in the market because most BI solutions are not SDKs. They are hosted SaaS experiences. Maybe they let you have an iframe on the client to render dashboards in your app, but really they don't give you an API. Reveal is all API driven, so you can control every aspect of that user experience. There's no per user or per server fee. Reveal is one price per application, so you don't have to worry about scaling up. Maybe today you have 100 users and you're in growth phase to 1,000. You're not going to start getting charged for additional users with Reveal. You just buy the SDK as a license, and then you license that every year. We connected dozens of data sources. So if you think about your tabular data sources, Oracle, BigQuery, Snowflake, SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, Redshift, you name it, we have connectors for those, as well as some SaaS data sources too. You can deploy anywhere. I mentioned this on the previous slide. You want to deploy on-prem to the cloud in a container, that's okay. We are part of your app. So wherever your app gets deployed is where Reveal gets deployed, because you're actually just adding our library into your applications, which is why we are secure by default. So you can't get into Reveal without going through your application. Our APIs are locked down as much as you'd like. So if you have a token where people log in, and based on that token there's information that has a security context, you can use that same security context in Reveal to execute queries and do all of the things that you would need to do for that data access. And of course, all of that is done through a rich API. So this gives it a little visual view of the client and the server. So in your application on the client, you're adding the Reveal JavaScript library. It is pure JavaScript, so it doesn't matter if you're using Google Web Toolkit, Angular, React, Blazor, Vue. We don't care. You can use anything if it supports JavaScript, and that's where you have all of the dashboarding experience. So I want to view dashboards, edit dashboards, export, all these other things. All of that is in that client-side library. And then on the server, as I mentioned, we have a Node package. We have a .NET Core package, and we have a Java package. These get added to your server application, or like some customers do, they deploy a specific Reveal server. It's up to you how you configure it, but the idea is this is just a library in that server application, and that handles all of the client requests, like connecting to the data source, saving dashboards, authentication, authorization, etc. The nice thing about Reveal is it has a lot of defaults. So like we load and save to a dashboards folder because the dashboard is simply a file. However, you might want to save to a database. You might want to save on a per tenant basis or a per user basis. You have APIs to control all of that. So let's talk about customizing Reveal. Reveal's an SDK, so it's in your app. We don't give you a bunch of server configuration things, we give you a bunch of APIs. So our goal is to enable APIs just like you're using in your app that give you customization over that user experience that your application requires. So we don't know what your application looks like. We don't know what your UX team came up with. So we make sure that Reveal is flexible enough where it feels like it's truly built in to the experience that you're delivering to your customers. It's not a bolted on sort of iframe experience that clearly doesn't look like you built it as part of your app. The idea is this is part of your app, which means multiple options. So you can customize menus, filters, tooltips, the way dashboards link together. The theming and branding is a big part of Reveal. I'm going to show you that today in the demo. And then you're also going to see today something called the dashboard document object model, or the DOM. And the DOM gives you further control in a typed view of a specific dashboard or a set of dashboards, which when you can get an API into whatever the users are building, it gives you a ton of flexibility in what you can deliver. So the Reveal the Reveal SDK has two main objects: the SDK settings object and a Reveal view. And just like any other library, there's a rich API behind it. So here's a screenshot of the docs, and you can kind of get a feel for some of the capabilities that you have. I'm going to show you a lot of this through the experience of an end user today and how they might be interacting with your applications. And then when we talk about that Reveal DOM, this is another library that's part of Reveal, and it lets you have complete programmatic control over dashboard objects. This means existing dashboards you can parse, you can modify, you can read, you can do interesting things with, like create new dashboards from existing dashboards. I'm going to show you that today in a demo. You can dynamically create dashboards in memory. So for example, here you can see a little code snippet. I've created a dashboard object. It's called a dashboard document. I want to add a new visualization. What kind of visualization do I want to add? Well, how about a pie chart? How about the data source is this JSON data source, and I want to set the label and the value. Now this is all programmatic. You're going to see that Reveal is a WYSIWYG tool. It's what we call a simple and beautiful way to enable your users to deliver or have that self-service BI experience. But giving you the ability to do everything in code can elevate the type of experiences that you deliver to your customer. So when we look at this document object model, you've got a dashboard object, which has features like loading and saving and parsing, etc. Then you have visualizations and data sources that make up these dashboards, and you're going to see today how you can use those to deliver unique experiences to your customers. So giving that programmatic access really does go beyond just changing a theme or a font or a color, etc. And then having JavaScript APIs for everything on the client also enables unique, interesting experiences that your customers can have. So the DOM that you're going to see today, along with a ton of samples, are all on GitHub. So if you go to github.com, Reveal BI, you're going to find a folder for SDK samples JavaScript, which goes into tons of different JavaScript examples with different backends like .NET or Node or Java on how to work with Reveal. And then the DOM library is another repo on GitHub, just Reveal SDK DOM, where you can start experiencing what you can do as a developer with Reveal. So with that, let's jump into a demo. Of course, I'm already in my demo. This is an Angular application that has Reveal embedded in it. And I'm using a .NET Core backend. So for this particular app, I've created a .NET Core app. I've added the Reveal SDK, which is a NuGet package, and then I've lit up the experience that I want to deliver on the server through APIs there. And then in my Angular app, I am using the Reveal JavaScript library to enable features on the client. So the first thing that I want to do is just look at the overall Reveal experience. So this is a basic dashboard. In fact, this has a custom branding to it. The default Reveal fonts are Roboto, and the colors are a blue, pinkish, greenish. My organization is bluish. So what I did is I set the chart colors that I want to use. I set the accent colors that I want to use, and I set the font that I want to use. So this sort of looks like my own experience. But you can see I have a title for the dashboard. If I go to the right-hand side, I have an overflow, which gives me some edit options, refresh. I can do some different exports. We'll look at all of that in a second. But on the left, I have my customer list. And as I hover over my customers, you'll see that I have a tooltip, which is giving me some options for what I can do on this data. Based on what I'm hovering over, I might have different options. So the tooltip is going to respond to the visualization that you happen to be hovering over. You can see I'm hovering over some text visualizations here that have some summaries. This isn't really doing anything, but over here I can do filters, I can look at underlying data, and I can do similar to my tree map. But what I want to do here is on the left-hand side, I just want to start exploring some of the capabilities. So I'm going to filter by Preeny, which is the customer bar that I'm hovered over. And what you'll notice is that the dashboard updated with the information for Preeny, which is what I filtered by. So I can see that the salespeople have sold a few things to Preeny. Looks like Preeny is over in Portugal, and they have $103,000 in invoices, and you can see that matches here with 5 total orders. If I expand out my tree map, you can see that Preeny is highlighted in my tree map. If I minimize this guy and I go over to Preeny here, and I want to open these orders for Preeny, I've added a feature here called dashboard linking. So this jumps over to all of the orders for Preeny. It gives me the years of Preeny's orders, gives me the sales by product, etc. But the idea is that I'm taking the data context of one row that I'm hovered over, and I'm passing that to another dashboard or simply another page in your application. So I'm going to remove Preeny from my filter. I also have a dashboard link here. So this is for Reg C. I don't need to be filtered to do that. I just want to look at Reg C's orders. So I can go back and forth and do some dashboard linking. I can also view the underlying data. So if I want to look at the data for Lazy K, this will bring up a grid. This is the 2 rows that made up all of that data for that particular customer I was hovered over. This guy here, Save A, seems to have more orders. So let's look at all of Save A's orders, and you can see the customer ID column is exactly what it should be with all of their orders. So basic interactions that you get that you would expect from a BI tool. However, what's interesting is that you can add your own custom options here as well. So let's say you want to add another option on the menu. You have a JavaScript API that lets you do that. Let's say when a visualization is maximized, you want to hide things like these statistical functions, or you don't want users to swap between the visualization types at runtime. No problem. You have complete programmatic control over everything that shows up in toolbars and in the overflow options. So I'll minimize this guy, and let's go to the overflow, and I'm going to jump into edit mode. So now that I'm in edit mode, you can see that when I hover over visualizations, they sort of get activated. They have a blue border around them. So let's say I want to edit a specific visualization like top salespeople. Here I am right in the visualization editor. On the left-hand side, I have my schema. On the right-hand side, I have the label, which is the salesperson, my y-axis. Values, order ID is my x-axis. Let's say I want to look at this a little bit differently, like what was the average freight by salesperson. So I just drag freight over. You can see the x-axis on the bottom has changed. I want to change this, however, from an aggregation of sum to average. I want to make sure that this is a currency, and that's good enough. I will update that field, and now you can see that the labels across the bottom changed. Maybe I want to change the start color of the chart, so let's change it to orange. You have, again, programmatic control over most of these settings here. Maybe you want to use a different theme for a specific visualization. You can do that. So if I go back to data, I could change the title. I could actually add more items here. So I could do freight, and then let's look at quantity even. So I can do quantity. So here I have the quantity of items and then the freight. And if I want to change this chart type, it's not bad, but maybe a stacked column would be better. Let's go do a stacked column, picking from any one of the 30 or so chart types that we have. And that's kind of how my chart looks now. I can check the box, and if I check the box, it'll automatically save. But all of the features and capabilities that you have just in editing, you also have in viewing. And in this case, let's say I want to add a new visualization to this particular dashboard. I could click plus visualization, or if I want, I can simply duplicate an existing visualization. And maybe this one I want to leave where it's at, and then this guy I want to go back and change to something else. So this whole interaction of adding, editing visualizations, it's all in the client library. And again, you have complete control over editing. Maybe a certain user is not allowed to edit, but it gives you this whole experience without you writing any code. So in order to do all the stuff that I just did, there's no code. And even here, if I want to export to Excel, we can do that. A dialog comes up. It offers me to change the sheet names or the title of the Excel file. I'll export this guy out. We can open it up in Excel, and you can see I've got my data. But the nice thing is we also will export a native chart type. So this is a native Excel chart. It's not a screenshot. This is an actual chart that you can then go use in maybe whatever other application you're doing. Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, you're always going to get a beautiful chart, and you can do this headless as well. So let's say you want to export this on the server, no problem. You can do that, based on like, oh, I want an email of a particular dashboard, or maybe just a single visualization in a dashboard sent to me every night at midnight. Great, you can go for it. And then keep in mind as well, you do have control over this menu. You can remove Excel and only have image. The exporting is completely up to you. So that's basically the default experience that you get with Reveal. All of those interactions, everything that you saw there, there's no custom code to do anything. It's just part of that JavaScript library. So if we look at theming and branding, which is a critical piece of an embedded SDK, you're going to want to make the Reveal experience look like your application. So here on the left-hand side, you can see I have all of the visualizations that are over on my server. So I'm just selecting them, and they're showing up on the right-hand side. You'll notice that there is a thumbnail of the dashboard. So you can see here this thumbnail has like a map and like a scatter and some KPIs. It's basically the shape of what this dashboard looks like. So Reveal does give you the ability to get a thumbnail of a dashboard, so you can do something like I did here. Here's a list view, or maybe you want this in a drop down or a strip across the top. You can do that with Reveal. But let's take a look at what this might look like in some other colors. So this color happens to be one of the default built-in themes for Reveal. I think this one is Mountain Dark. So Reveal ships with 4 built-in themes: Ocean Light, Ocean Dark, Mountain Light, Mountain Dark. This blue, red, or brown, red, purple, yellow, blue, those are my custom themes. So if I look at Ocean Light, what you'll notice is that the dashboard colors sort of have a lighter hue, a lighter tone. All of my thumbnails change to the correct color of this theme, so they look quite nice. If I go to Mountain Light is just the same colors, just different shades of those colors. So one's a little more oceany looking, one's a little more mountainy looking, based on if you have a mental model of what that might look like. And if we look at the dark, you can see we just changed the contrast, those colors. So here's Ocean Dark, and let's take a look at Mountain Dark. Again, these are built in. I'm just saying SDK settings theme equals a new Mountain Dark theme or a new Ocean Light theme. Very simple, one line of code to change the theme. However, if I want to change even more, I can change more. So in this case, you'll notice I changed the font to, I think this is a Montserrat font, and my theme colors for my charts are just a different array of colors. So I'm changing basically the way this looks, including the font. If I go to red, this looks more like a solutions review type dashboard, because if you go to the solutions review website, it's using red, and this uses shades of reds and burgundies in my charts. So this matches my branding, and you can see that the font is changed as well all across the board. Let's go to purple. This is a nice purple theme. Again, different fonts, different colors, etc. If I go to yellow, this is a contrasted theme. So this would be a dark theme that has high contrast colors, which looks really nice. This is similar to one of the customers we have today, and it just looks like, it's beautiful. Everything sort of adapts to the correct theme colors. And then if I select blue, again, this is just more changes to the fonts and the themes. The way that Reveal works is you're not changing CSS, you're changing font properties. So if, like, you're using a CSS library, you can just set those properties to whatever fonts you're using there or whatever colors you're using there, or you can customize these. What I do in my Angular app, in my app module, when I load my application, I'm actually setting all of these properties and then different global configurations for Reveal. Makes it super easy. However, this is a switcher, so this is just a component, and there's a service that allows me to swap out this theming at runtime to make it really easy for you. So theming and branding, critical part of Reveal, and it allows you to really deliver any type of experience that you'd like built into your application. So if we look at customizing the user experience, this is a little bit different. What you're going to notice here is that Reveal's in a tab, so this is just an Angular tab. Here's my dashboard, but there's no overflow on the right-hand side. There's no default title. What I did in this case was I hid the overflow and I hid the title. What I wanted to do was use the Reveal JavaScript API to interact with my dashboard. So you'll notice I have buttons across the top. Some are enabled, some are disabled. So let's say I want to go into edit mode for this dashboard. If this was the default Reveal experience, I would go to the overflow and I would click edit. Then I'm in edit mode. If I wanted to add a new visualization, I would click plus visualization, add new visualization, etc. But what I want to do is I want to do that all in code. So if I go to customizing the UX, I click edit. This is telling the Reveal view to enter edit mode. So we have a JavaScript function that allows you to say, hey, Reveal view, jump into edit mode. Now the user can do different interactions. They can use date time filters or remove date time filters. They can add their own custom filters. It's really up to you at this point what you enable in the editor. But now I'm in edit mode. I can change things, rearrange items, edit visualizations, all the things that you saw previously, but it's all being done without driving through the default UI. Now let's say I want to save this guy. I can just click save. Now that is saved back to my server, and this is the new look for my dashboard. I can jump into edit mode again, do the same thing I did before, edit, rename, delete. In this case, maybe I don't want a donut chart. Maybe we want to do a column chart, and we can do the same thing. Referrals and deposits. Let's change deposits to large number formatting to make it look a little bit better. And we can also improve what these look like in the tooltips by changing the spelling here on these labels. And let's change deposits to be a capital D. And I will click done. I will update this field. And now you can see the capital D in deposits. And when I hover over, it's a capital D. We'll check this box. We'll click save, and now this is my new dashboard. Let's say I want to save it as something different. Click save as. I can jump here, a dialog pops up. I can actually create a custom dialog if I'd like. I'm using the default JavaScript one. I can give a new name, save this as a new dashboard, and then it'll be just another dashboard on my server. If I want to export this, I've also enabled all of my exporting through an API. So here I want to export this to Excel again. I get the same dialog, but it's all being driven through my API, through the Reveal API, through my own experience. So you don't have to settle for what Reveal gives you in our options. You can control the entire experience through JavaScript. So let's take a look now at the SDK DOM library. So this is really powerful and pretty slick. So what I did here is the same thing I did on the other view that we looked at. I just listed all of my dashboards here on the left-hand side. And this is a tab over here on the right-hand side. The first tab has some details and information. The second tab is actually showing the dashboard. So this is exactly what we did on the other page, except this time I've got a new tab. So what am I doing here? I'm actually using the Reveal DOM library to inspect the dashboards. And I'm doing it in a very simple way here. So in this customer invoices dashboard, there are, it looks like there's 6 visualizations. When I'm selecting the visualizations, I actually have an icon here which is displaying the visualization. You'll notice on the right-hand side in this grid, I've listed all of the field names, field labels, and field types that are in these specific visualizations. And this dashboard, it looks like they're all using the same data set. They're just using different visualization types. And over here on the bottom, I'm using what's called single visualization view in Reveal. So what this allows you to do is you have a big dashboard that has maybe 5 or 10 or 15 visualizations. You just want to display a single visualization out of that. So there's an API that allows you to do that. You can get the visualization by title or by ID. So each one of these has a GUID, and I'm saying, hey, in this dashboard called Customer Invoices, look up a specific GUID and just show that dashboard here, or that visualization here on the lower right. But as I click through, you can see that this list of visualizations will change based on what I'm looking at. So why is this interesting and why is this useful? Well, let's say, for example, you've got a bunch of dashboards already created and something changes. Like you want to change the field name from date to, for example, my date or something like that. Or you want to go through every dashboard on your server, look up a field label or a field name or an aggregation type, and you want to change those en masse. You can do that, obviously, because, yeah, the dashboard files are just JSON, but the JSON is a lot of code. In order to parse and understand our document object model is a lot of work. Using something like the DOM will allow you to rifle through as much or as little as you want, modify dashboards, read dashboards, etc., and kind of give, like I said earlier, new and unique experiences to your users. So if I take a look at what this might look like in terms of the API, I have a bunch of endpoints here. This is my Solutions Review Reveal server. And all of these are simple gets. I've got some puts and posts. But ultimately, what I wanted to do with my application is interact with a dashboard. So I've got some things here, and we'll kind of walk through what's actually happening. So in this get, I want to pass it the name of a dashboard, and I want to get all of the visualizations in that dashboard. So I know I have a dashboard called banking. I'm going to click execute, and then what this did is using that document object model, it gave me the ID, the GUID, of each visualization that's in the banking dashboard, the title, the type of chart, and I did some cleansing here so I know this chart type's a donut chart. I'm also putting a path to a SVG for this particular chart type, and that is how I get these nice images so I know what kind of charts these are, so I can actually show to you as the user a friendly way of looking at that. And then what are the labels and the values, the X and Y axis values that make up these charts. So this is just some basic information, but what it allows you to do, or maybe it helps you realize, is that if I can pull this out of a chart or out of a dashboard, I can change it as well. So when you start getting into an experience where you have, hundreds or thousands of customers and you have to make changes or you have to do things to dashboards, having a document object model view of that dashboard ends up being pretty useful. So let's take a look here. I'm going to grab this GUID. I'm just going to copy it. So let's, no Copilot. Thank you. Let's go ahead and copy this guy. And I'm going to do Control C, and I'm going to go to the next endpoint here. So what I want to do here is for this dashboard banking, I want to give it the ID and I want to get the fields that are in this particular dashboard. So let's type in banking. I'm going to pass in this ID and I'm going to execute this. And now you can see that this gives me the fields list. So this is the schema that is in the R dash in that JSON that makes up the dashboard of what is used to create the visualization, which we looked at up here for dates and deposits or referrals and opened accounts, etc. And what I did in the application here is when I'm selecting these guys, that's what's showing up in this grid. So if I jump off and I look at a different chart, you'll see that the grid values are changing because those are going to be specific to each visualization. So each visualization can have a different field name, field label, etc. So that's kind of looking at it from that DOM perspective. If I scroll down, there's some other APIs here. I have another API that says give me the details for this. So let's try this guy out and let's type in banking. And I'm going to use that same GUID. We'll execute this. And this is giving me, again, the ID, some more information, and it's returning the labels and values, rows or targets based on the visualization type in an array. So I might want to do something different on the client with this. And let's see what else do we have here that might be interesting. Let's take a look at dashboards, name, ID, drill down. So what this will do is, it's actually pretty cool. It will allow me to get the underlying data of a particular visualization, but this really needs to be run from the client because you need a dashboard to load it in, so we really won't be able to see anything there. But what do these APIs actually look like? So if I go to some code here and I look at just getting the visualizations, you can see this isn't like parsing JSON. I'm not doing a bunch of crazy code to search through this large JSON, which makes up the dashboard. I actually have a typed view of my world. So if I attempt to edit this, what you'll notice is there is stuff that I get in my IntelliSense. So what can I do? Not only can I read values, but I can do things like connect to dashboard filters. I can modify the descriptions. And as I scroll down, you can see all of the properties, functions, etc. that you would get with this. So one of the interesting things in this is column span. So you can actually get the row and column of a visualization. So let's say, for example, you want to do something, where you want to display a different type of thumbnail. You can read the visualization or the dashboard. You can get each visualization type, and you can actually get the layout. So imagine having that power when you're trying to deliver something cool to your users. All of this is available, but this is just one example. If we scroll down, you can see there's a ton of different APIs here that are looking at what is available. Like I want to know the field name, the label, the alias of the table, because all of these are settable through the designer in Reveal. So anything that's set through the designer, you're going to end up having an endpoint that allows you to query that dashboard and then do something with it. So ultimately, what is a useful use case for that? Yes, for sure, I can do an editor where I want to change field names en masse. I want to change aggregations. Let's say here for order information, or this isn't probably a good one. Let's go to logistics to this donut chart. Maybe I want to change the color or the value or what this title says. I can do that all programmatically without having to actually go into the editor for Reveal. But what I did is I created something called a visualization catalog. So what I did here was I am listing in this Angular list here, this is all just using that document object model, every visualization from every dashboard on my server. So I'm going through, parsing each R- file, which ultimately is just a JSON, and I am listing each visualization. And just like in my previous sample, I'm viewing it in a single visualization mode. However, what I have here on the right-hand side is a reveal view, which is in edit mode. It's sort of waiting for a visualization. In a normal workflow, a user would have an add visualization button, and they would just start going into like a schema and doing that whole sort of deal. But that is not very user-friendly, because if you go and we look at the reveal experience here, and I go into edit mode and I click plus visualization, well, in this case, I don't have any schemas, but if I click the pencil here, I actually have to know what all this means. And maybe the user doesn't know what this means. However, they do know that they want revenue by country. They do know that they want top salespeople. They do know that they want a customer list, and so do you. So you, as the vendor who's delivering the application to your users, can create all of these KPIs, all of these visualizations, and the data that displays them is just based on that particular user. So that's all that back-end API. We're not going into that today, but if I want to enable my users an easier way to actually start building out dashboards, they can just do it with a point and click. So maybe this particular user wants to look at that risk range, they want to look at turnover, and maybe from a completely different dashboard or just picking from the list, they want to look at shipments cost. And so now I have 3 visualizations, and we can just add one more, maybe units produced analysis. So now I have a brand new dashboard, 4 visualizations. I can still go into edit mode, and I can go ahead and resize items, make this look a little bit better. I can actually jump into the editor here, deposits. I can change this to a currency, update this field. Like, I still have all of the power that you do in the editor, but I didn't actually have to drag and drop, do any sort of a WYSIWYG to create these charts. They were already built for me. I'm just going to rearrange this, make it look like I want, and let's call this one the Solutions Review Dashboard, because this is what we care about most. And I'm going to check the box here. So now this is a brand new dashboard that's saved. If I go back to my theming and branding, which I do have all of my dashboards listed here, we will see that Solutions Review Dashboard. Now this is my dashboard maybe that I care about, that has the KPIs that I want. So using something like the document object model, you can invent whatever is in your imagination to deliver a unique and compelling experience to your users, to build and deliver KPIs, dashboards, etc. So why is Reveal the only choice for embedded BI? The overall customization and the simplicity of creating those dashboards is critical. The simple embedding is number 2. You don't have to use complex tools like Power BI, which you really need experience. You could get up and running in Reveal in a couple days. And of course, empowering self-service in your apps, as well as all of that customization that I showed you today. So you can have Reveal, but make it not even seem like Reveal, because you can completely customize every aspect of it. So check us out today at revealbi.io. Email us at sales@revealbi.io. And Doug, that's all we have for this demo today.
Well, great presentation, Jason. And as I alluded to in the intro, one of the nuances here that I think I want to start with is this idea that that somebody who's investing in this sort of thinking is taking a more conscientious approach to application building, to really data presentation. Can you just talk, before we get into the details of everything, because you've been around a bit, talk about the value of data visualization in terms of how to present the best possible visual elements and what people get out of that next level of thinking.
Yeah, it's a constant struggle for organizations, because they've rolled out over the years what they believe are solutions that their end users or their customers will use to drive better decision making, etc. And they don't hit, right? It's maybe the customer isn't able to build something specifically in a self-service environment, or the organization isn't delivering to the users what they need. So when you think about a solution like Reveal and sort of what you saw in the demo, enabling users to really deliver their own experience, having an easy way to make it make sense for them, becomes super critical, because these applications now are business critical. They are going to be around for decades, and they need to help users drive those better decision making. So it's all about enabling the users to do things their way, craft the visualizations their way, have the right KPIs to look at, and it'll just make that adoption easier, and it'll achieve the goals of the organization, which is really helping their users make better decisions faster.
Well, and I think that's when I talk about the subtlety of data visualization. It's the idea of presenting the data in a way that improves the understanding. It kind of it speeds decision making. You know, you can spot things a little more clearly as a human when you're presenting data in a visual way. It's that would be my sense, that it's
exactly right.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the customization. Why is the customization an essential component of this sort of embedded BI?
Yeah, there's two angles here. One of them is we are an ISV and we want to really deliver a differentiating experience to the market. We want to sell more licenses of our product. Most solutions out there, it's a dashboard in an iframe, right? Okay, great. Anyone can do that. And then when you look at it, you're like, well, that's not the type of experience that's going to win us business. So when you can build something super differentiating that puts you way above your competition, it really makes that digital transformation very meaningful because you can win business. And then the other path is I just want my users, as I kind of mentioned earlier, to see the data in a way that makes sense for them. So giving an SDK model like Reveal is, where you can customize basically every aspect of the experience, right down to, you know, how you're going to add a data source or add a visualization. It just makes it that much better for those users to understand the data. Like you said, make those decisions faster. Things are in a way that help them understand complex data that they would have otherwise not been able to kind of grind through in reports or maybe even in a visualization they had earlier.
So as you've been at this a while, and this is why we love talking to you, because you have this long-term perspective. Can you share with us a little of the changes that you've seen over the past 5 years or so in terms of where embedded BI has been headed, and what you're seeing in terms of user adoption and the level of applications that are being built?
Yeah, well, what we're seeing is it's amazing. It's more about embedded now. So we kind of got into this embedded space maybe 2017-ish. Prior to that, we were a SaaS app, and we just heard over and over, we need this in our app. We need this in our web app, and we want to enable and empower users to be able to deliver these experiences. So what happened in the market was there was so many really rich SaaS apps out there. You know, you think about a Power BI type app, and it was hosted, but it was not really great for embedding. So what organizations did that had SaaS BI apps is they just kind of said, yes, you can embed it, but you can embed this iframe experience. And that didn't work. And unfortunately, that's still what many of them do today. They're not really delivering that beautiful embedded experience that makes the application or makes the BI experience feel like it's built in. Like we designed this from the beginning. It's more of that bolt on where it's kind of clear that this wasn't thought through. It's just kind of throw some charts out there, and that hurts, right? The other aspect of it is some companies are still using that SaaS app. And when you have that SaaS app, what's happening? You're in your flow, you're getting your work done, and now I have to jump to another application. I lose my train of thought, and that switching tax, which everyone talks about, like this app switching task. We switch through 60 or 70 apps a day or whatever the number is. We lose hundreds of hours a year in forgetting what we were just doing. So I think that's really where the pain is. And that's why organizations are really looking to an embedded BI solution so users can make those decisions in context, in place, in the flow of what they are doing in their job. You know, they're just trying to get their job done the best way possible. So delivering those tools is really important.
Yeah. So what specific examples and elements or functionalities are available for developers to take advantage of?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about Reveal, like I showed in my demo, is that document object model. So what we do is we give you, as a developer, a typed view into your dashboard. So your organization, or you're delivering to your customers maybe hundreds of dashboards, could be thousands, based on the size of the organization. But how can you use all of that information in those dashboards to deliver really a differentiating experience? And that's where that SDK comes into play, where I can parse through dashboards. I can understand what fields users are using. I can look at data sources, and then through our JavaScript APIs, surface those in ways that make sense to those users. You're not stuck with, oh, this is our designer, this is how you must build a chart. With Reveal, the sky's the limit. Like I always say to customers when I'm talking to them, or prospects, if you can imagine it, you can do it, which is really where that differentiation comes in, especially if you're an ISV looking to deliver that type of differentiation to the market. With our libraries and Reveal, you have a lot of flexibility, and hopefully that came through in the demo today, from what it looks like by default, and then, wow, look at what I can make this thing look like if I put a little thought into it and use the APIs that we provide.
So talk to me a little bit about the kind of adoption path here. So folks that you've been building this for some time. I'm assuming that you're moving your existing customers through that adoption path. Where are you seeing new engagements, and is there a particular trend with regard to verticals or
very
lines
horizontal
of business and so forth?
Yeah, it's very horizontal. Yeah, we don't see like, oh, there's one vertical that's doing it more than the other. However, there is a lot of digital transformation happening. So whether it's, I have a Windows Forms or WPF app, and we're building something brand new in the web, that's one track, and we do see a lot of that. Like I need to do something different here. I want to modernize and give my users a new experience, but I just don't want it to be my same old app. I want to have something really unique, and having a modern BI dashboarding experience in there is really a great feature for organizations. And then ISVs that already have SaaS apps, they are constantly trying to differentiate. They're constantly trying to update. There's so many ISVs we work with, and they have beautiful SaaS apps. They, the design that goes into them and the ease of use, but they don't give their users a way to have embedded analytics. They might have a few charts, some screens with a chart here and there, but really empowering their users to deliver analytics to their customers or themselves is where we see a lot of these ISVs coming to tools like Reveal, and those are a lot of the conversations we have.
And so, how do people take advantage of that existing knowledge bank? I mean, what are some of the advantages that folks can take advantage of in terms of being able to see some of those best practices that you're talking about?
Yeah. So what we do at Reveal is, usually the process is someone's interested in embedded BI. They do some searches. They end up at our site. The common search is Power BI competitors, right? Okay, so I know I don't want Power BI because it's a hosted solution. It's going to cost me a lot of money with the cloud. I want something that I can deploy maybe on-prem, maybe air-gapped, not even connected to the network. So that journey starts there. And then folks are looking at multiple tools, and they're getting multiple demonstrations from different vendors. Once they come to Reveal, we, blow their mind with our simple, beautiful experience, all the capabilities we have. But then we go through this managed POC process. And our goal is within 30 days to walk a customer through, or a prospect through, what they can do with the product. So that's initially connecting to a data source, starting to create dashboards, doing customizations, really pushing the limits of what you can do with the SDK. But the most success we have is when we're highly engaged through that POC process, and the prospect can take advantage of like all of our knowledge, our product team, our customer success folks, and then having their developers engage with us. And it's always great when you have that C-level or product VP type who's driving this at an organization. because he has a vision, right? When you're in charge of product at an org, just like at Infragistics, I'm in charge of a lot of products. You have a vision and you need to drive that through. You need to see that through because that's driving revenue in the future. So we see a lot of that starting with that level of person looking to digitally transform, and then all the way through our managed POC process to a successful deployment. And that can take anywhere from 30 days to 6 months based on how much time and attention the prospect can put to it. But we've had customers, believe it or not, that have been up and running from a demo to deployment in 3 days, which is mind-boggling because you have to write code. But when you're committed to getting something done, you can get things done. So it's a great process, and it helps us understand the customer needs, their success criteria, and then ultimately how they can drive their own success at their customers.
So digital transformation is a great term. It's been around for a while. The obviously there's a lot of digital transformation being talked about with regard to the current AI revolution we're entering into. It's my sense anyway here at Solutions Review that AI is creating a certain amount of paralysis in some organizations in terms of what to do, how to take advantage of it, where they should go. But the work doesn't stop. I'm curious if you have any advice for folks who are maybe just kind of struck by too many inputs at this point and have frozen up a little bit. What would you suggest? Yeah, right, exactly. What would you suggest or advise for folks who still have to get things done and deliver product to the team, but yet are being there's a lot of glitter in front of them.
We deal with this. We've been talking to people for since ChatGPT came out, and they're like, I'm not making a decision until I know that. I'm like, AI is amazing, and it's great at some very set use cases right now. There's a ton of amazing exploration, prototyping going on, but you have to drive your business, and you have to understand, is the partner that I'm working with, are they fly by night, brand new, just trying to do something quick with AI, or do they have a track record of delivery? But the interesting thing is, at the very top of organizations, obviously AI is important, and there's big promises of this, like we need tools to shave time off of my operations during the day. Like if I can save a few minutes here and there with AI, that's incredible. And then you need solutions that are really going to drive that organizational value. And embedded BI is one of those, because the way that we can deploy AI with a product like Reveal can make significant changes to how you drive decision-making in your organization. So I do agree with you. There is analysis paralysis. There's so much I saw this tool and it does this. And I'm like, does it really do it that well? And then you dig into it and it's kind of cool, but it's probably still a year out. But we're seeing amazing AI, just when it's working with text and audio and video and the things that AI can do there. I think on the things like app building, coding it's good at, but generating a really beautiful user interface isn't quite there yet. And I think what we're going to see in the next 12 months is big leaps forward in how AI works with BI tools. And we're going to be part of that. So we're pretty excited about AI and what it could bring. But keep looking, keep learning, keep understanding. And AI is exponentially improving every month. So what you thought it couldn't do probably 3 months ago, it'll be able to do by Christmas.
Well, we would encourage everybody watching this to head to Infragistics' website and check out everything that they have to offer, what Jason is talking about with Reveal, and everything that they're doing, and all the value-added tabs that exist as well in terms of forms and support and so forth. There's going to be a lot of solutions coming that are going to be a little green, and in the end, when a lot is on the line, you need to work with folks that have been around a spell, and that's why we always enjoy having Infragistics and Jason in the spotlight. So thanks very much today, Jason. Appreciate it. Best of luck with everything that you're working on and all the AI initiatives that you're developing. And we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you very much, Doug. I appreciate it.
So there you have it, another solution in our spotlight. We want to thank Jason and Infragistics for that presentation, and we appreciate your attendance as well. Until next time, I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review. Thanks for watching.
If your business would like to be featured in a future event, contact us today.